I just discovered the horrifying truth of the erosion bird. I now know how my family died. I was initially horrified when I awakened to the low chirping of erosion birds filling my room. My family and I typically see some weird animals out here in the snowy French Alps, but these ones were different. They would always chirp the same low, soothing tune outside my window. I'd lay in bed until their song was over and I was able to start my day, but their song carried more than just a pretty tune. They brought me predictions of my life. The bird was nothing too extravagant. Its beautiful snow-white feathers caught the light of the sun so gracefully. Its midnight black eyes, deeper than any ocean, would observe me as I listened to its song. A lou calm fit, none crazy if that's the best way to put it. The erosion bird always sang first, and within its song would be the prediction of something good that would happen in my life. The birds didn't actually say anything, but when their song reached my eardrums, the predictions acted like memories. I could recall things that happened that day, even though they hadn't happened yet. The other bird had a darker feather color than the other, almost a maroon color. Another thing that was noticeably different was that it had blood-red eyes that reminded me of the blood moon. After the white bird was done, the red one would sing. When its song reached me, I would have a memory of something bad that was going to happen that day. No one ever believed me about the birds. I would try to call my parents into the room as they were singing, but my parents never saw them, even if they were in the room at the same time, so my parents started referring to them as imaginary friends. Since no one else ever saw these birds, I started to believe them. It didn't matter what I believed, though. The birds would continue to visit me like clockwork and tell their tales. Their predictions always came to pass. When I was younger, the predictions were simple and generally innocent, like when the white bird sang that the school would be serving pizza for lunch, and the red bird retorted that I would get a paper cut in math class. Sure enough, I would walk to school, and at lunch, I'd be given 2 slices of pizza. I'd be so content from lunch that I would carelessly pull my textbook from my backpack, and a loose page would slice my finger open. Even if the predictions were things I could easily alter, I never seemed to be able to. Like the day I just mentioned, I made a note to grab my favorite pencil before I left. I was so focused on remembering to do it that eventually, I sort of just thought I did until I got to school and discovered no pencils in my backpack. As I grew older, I came to understand that what the birds considered to be good or bad news was relative to my outlook. I've since become increasingly uncomfortable with the songs they have been singing to me. Just about a month ago, I lost my mother to an extensive battle with cancer. I knew before I even left the bedroom that she had died. The red bird made sure of that. What did the white bird sing for that day? That my mother was no longer going to suffer. Guess one event can carry multiple weights. After she passed, my dad and I tried to carry on. It was hard to live life without her, but we decided he wouldn't want us to dwell. The birds were kind to me. The white bird would sing of something grand that would take place, like my uncle taking me on a short road trip. The red bird's song would carry only small irritations, like getting something stuck in my teeth. I needed time to heal, and the birds knew that, until my father got sick too. Only 2 weeks after my mom had passed, she started going in and out of consciousness and had to be hospitalized. I was so angry. I am still so angry. I couldn't understand why I would have to lose one parent, only to watch the other start to fade. I became bitter from all of this, and would lay in bed, clutching the fabric of my sheets, and when I woke in the morning I would hear the birds singing. The white bird would sing to me that 4,307 people were going to die in a car accident that day. I was shocked that this is something that the white bird would tell me, until the red bird informed me that Dad had to spend another week in the hospital. I'd have to suffer another week without my dad at home, but he wouldn't be driving home that day like he was supposed to. The news boiled down to, a lot of people are going to die today, but your dad won't. The way it was delivered is what worried me, and it only got worse. The next morning, the white bird told me that I would get a present in the mail, and I was pleased that the white bird's song was actually pleasant. The red bird, however, informed me that I wasn't the only thing that could hear their songs. I was perplexed, but I couldn't do anything about it. I can't converse with the birds, I can only listen. I wondered why that would be bad news. When I went to leave the house, I saw the present the white bird mentioned sitting right outside the front door. A small package poorly wrapped in hideous green and blue paper that was dotted with various snowflakes. I brought the gift inside and pulled the paper away from the box, sliding a knife through the tape that held it shut. I revealed the contents. I stood for a while looking at the snow-white feather that laid on the brown cardboard, a feather that held the light of the sun with a familiar grace. The day flew by. I could only think about the songs I heard in the morning, about what else was listening to the songs. I became so concerned that something was invading this moment that I thought made me special. These birds were mine, and no one else was supposed to listen to them. I wanted to get home. I wanted to sleep so I could try to get more information from their songs. With the help of a few sleeping pills, I was able to get to bed earlier than usual. My dreams were vivid. In the dream, I was on the peak of an isolated mountain, and the birds were just standing there. They were accompanied by some sort of faceless human apprentice. Something about my appearance with them made me feel safe. I walked up to one of them, where as soon as I touched their soft feathers, I woke up. Immediately, I turned to the bird sitting on the window as the white bird began to sing. It told me that I was going to live to see another morning, and the red bird informed me that it was getting closer. I got up from my bed and started walking towards the window, but as I approached, the birds took off and vanished from my view. I stood and watched out of my window. The world was unmoving, like nothing wanted to earn my ire. Looking down at the windowsill, I observed something I had never noticed before. The tips of my fingers ran over the small grooves that had been etched into the snowy floor, where they stood when they took off and landed every day. I knew then that they weren't just something from my head. The birds are tangible, but other people just don't see them. Foolishly, I had forgotten that the news the birds deliver to me is based on my state of mind and what's relevant to me. So as I continued to stress over what the red bird was referring to, they continued to sing about it. The white bird was right. I'd live to see another morning, several in fact. Another few days went by and now here I am. In the past few days, the songs went something like this. The white bird sang that I wouldn't have to water the garden, which was true. The slushy snow that day did it for me. The red bird told me that it was going to find me that day. I don't know if that played out, but the red bird was no liar. The next day, the white bird told me that my dad was going to call. He did. He told me how proud of me he was and that he hopes he gets well enough to come home soon. The red bird sang to me, while I was fidgeting with the feather that had been delivered to me, that I was going to forget to lock the back door, which I regrettably did. When I left the room after those songs, I walked downstairs to find tracks of snow all through the house leading to my door. I couldn't decide on what the tracks were. They didn't look like anything a human could leave behind, but the path it took didn't seem like an animal. It ignored the garbage, dirty dishes in the sink and the fridge, all things I assume a scavenger would be interested in. I couldn't figure out why it had stopped at my door. I still don't know. Yesterday, the white bird told me that it would always watch over me. The red bird said that they couldn't protect me. The birds didn't leave the window for a while after their songs. They just kept chirping away, like they wanted me to remember what they sounded like. All of yesterday, I did my best to be productive. I went to see my dad. We talked for a long time and he asked about the birds. He asked me what they said would happen. I told him they didn't really say anything too special. He laughed, and then he asked me about the dog. For a minute I was confused. I thought possibly his mind was wandering, so I pressed about it. He told me that before I told them about the birds at my window, I would wake them up crying every night about the dog in my room. He couldn't remember how I described it with my limited vocabulary, only that it was as horrific as a child could make it. He told me he and Mom would console me every night. I started to remember, as he went over the details, the memory playing in my head as if sung by the birds, the black pajamas my dad would wear, the white flowing gown Mom wore to bed, how I would run to their room every night, how they both held me and told me that they would always watch over me. My parents always tried their best to keep me safe. My mom taught me to see the brighter side of things, and my dad, always stern, taught me the negatives were important too. After my mother passed away, the birds started to get weaker, and with my dad's fading health, I just don't think their songs are loud enough anymore. I left the hospital and returned home to finish cleaning the house. Every inch of it became spotless. As I sat in my room last night and watched out the window, I could see it in the yard looking back at me. I understood why as a child I called it a dog. That was probably all I could come up with, and even now I don't know what else to call it. I couldn't see it too well in the dark, but whatever it was hunched over on 4 feet, polar opposite to what the erosion birds looked like. Its body was large and looked to have layers upon layers of skin peeling off of it. The eyes were yellow and glowing like spotlights. I'm glad I didn't have to see it in great detail. I think I understand now. This is what the red bird was talking about. This is it. This is who is going to find me. I wanted to write this all down before it gets too dark. This morning I woke up and listened to the songs my birds sang to me. I tried not to spend all day in bed. I tried to think of some way to go against the predictions, but it's never worked before. So I did my best to make peace and try to get down what I could, put it out there. I called my dad and told him I loved him, and now here I am. The songs playing in my head over and over. The red bird sang to me that the creature would be in my room tonight, like it had been when I was a child. The white bird told me that I would be with my mother once more. If there is an afterlife, hopefully we have lube comfits there, because that'd be opium as hell.